Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing today? Okay, so I just filmed like an hour-and-a-half long drama video and I didn't realize that it was that long. And then I got done and I was like, okay, I think I'm just gonna film my vlog today. And then I was like, oh my God, you still have to do your weight loss update, which I did weigh myself this morning. So I guess I need to get on here and let's just do this. I'm not gonna drag this out today. This isn't gonna be a long weight loss update video and all this kind of stuff. There'll be my thumbnail. I'm not going to do a long, drawn-out one. Here's the deal. The short of it is, we're just going to have a conversation like I'm talking to Tanya Jean, my best friend on the phone, okay? There's just a lot of shit that I need to do that I'm not doing, okay? That's just the truth. I want to be bathing suit ready and the pool's opening on this weekend, okay? And you're not going to lose 40 pounds in 3 days. It's just not going to happen. Well, I hope the pool's going to open. The pool, they're having pipe issues, so we don't know if the pool's going to open, but I hope it opens this weekend. But that's just the issue, is that it's just not going to happen overnight, and I think I thought it was. I weighed myself today. I was 207.8. I was, I think, 208 last week. I can actually look at my phone. I was 208 last week when I weighed myself, so I've lost 0.2 pounds. I've done better. Some days I've eaten really great. Other days I've eaten really horrible. We actually went out to, okay, hold on a second. Let me get my glasses. 207.8 today. 208 was, Thursday, May 16th. So I've lost 0.2 pounds. I'm still moving down, right? Which is great. And so I've continued to lose weight, since I wasn't doing well. So I'm proud of that. The thing is, I know everything I need to do, and I've said it every week on here. I just need to do it, okay? And I have to be honest with you. There are, like, some of my... I'm trying to look for other motivation and things, with, like, the walking. Like, I'm really struggling with the walking. It's so funny because people are so nice about, like, the comments that they leave now. And I was talking about this on my vlog the other day, and somebody was like, you should take your, like, they were so nice about it. And they were like, you should take your walks, like, first thing when you get up in the day. And, like, you would enjoy it. And it would set in motion, like, your day and things like that. I'm like, okay, so I'm not somebody that gets up at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm somebody that goes to bed at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. So I get up around noon, right? Excuse me. So I get up around noon, right? And if I'm getting up at noon, that means that in Indiana, like, right now it's probably 87 degrees outside, okay? That means I'm taking like an hour-and-a-half walk in 87-degree heat, and that doesn't feel enjoyable to me. And I used to love taking my walks at night when it was cooler because I would walk and I listen to my audiobook. I do miss listening to my audiobooks a lot, so I'm trying to use that as motivation. I told my husband last night as we were lazily sitting around watching Vanderpump Rules The Reunion and Schitt's Creek, I said, tomorrow I'm taking an hour-and-a-half walk. Like, I have to get, I miss my walk. I miss it. I do. I miss it. I'm like, I have to get back into this regimen of, like, walking every single day and, like, walking for, like, an hour to 2 hours every single day. I miss it. And I'm, like, slowed down greatly on listening to my audiobooks, and I really miss listening to my audiobooks. When I walk for, like, 15 or 20 minutes. I'm like, I'm so exhausted, like, let's go back home, and sit on the front porch and talk to my best friend and watch some TV show and something like that. Like, I'm like, it's so hot, I don't want to be listening to any audiobook. I listen to music, and I think that one of the reasons why I was listening to music was because if I get into my book of listening to my audiobook, then I know that I'm not going to listen to, like, if I'm just listening to music, then I'm not going to get into my audiobook as much, and I won't want to stay out as long. And so I think it's kind of this double-edged sword. So, I keep on saying that I almost did not film today because I felt like, other than the fact that I've lost 0.2 pounds, there's really nothing to say. I said it last week, like, I know the things to do, and I'm still not doing them. And I would say this week, I know the things to do, and I'm not doing them as well as I could. I know the things, like, if tomorrow, let's just say if tonight, I chose to eat super healthy and every day going forward, and I walked every day for an hour to an hour and a half, and I drank all my water, and I lifted weights 3 to 5 times this week. I can tell you that I would get on video next week, and I would be, like, 5 pounds thinner. That's just the reality, right? Well, maybe not. Like, I feel like I'm kind of like, I have been stuck for the last year at this, like, between 203 and 208. Like, that has been where I've gone. And so now I'm back to where I was before, which I'm happy about, right? Like, I'm happy that I'm back to that weight that I was before. I'm like almost to the weight that I was when we got back from Mexico, which is good, right? And so I'm glad about that, but like I'm still like not under 200 pounds. I still look in the mirror and I'm not happy with what I see, right? And so I'm still really, really struggling with that, while at the same time trying to be healthy, try to drink water, try to be active. I don't know, it's just something about the crisp, cool nights that get my butt moving, and I just don't want to move as much when it's hot and it's warm outside, and that's just the truth, you know? And I think sometimes, you know, it's interesting because my friend and I, Tanya, who's also sober, and she's talked about being sober in my videos, we talk a lot about, there have been periods in my recovery where I have been like really deep into inventory, right? And going to like, let's say 2 meetings a day, every day of the week, and going to therapy and doing intensive work with my sponsor and being in like a book group where we're talking about recovery books and going over steps and doing all this kind of stuff. And like, sometimes it's like too much, right? Like sometimes it's like I'm doing too much work on myself. And I have felt like that at periods in my life where I've kind of had to take a step back from that for a little bit. I feel like, and I can also get in my head, like I'm always, like there's always something I have to work on, right? I think sometimes for me, like when I started this and I started like talking in therapy and with my therapist a lot about like, well, I had been talking about it already, but when I started this, talking about it more about like my food addiction and the issues that have to do with my food issues and why I like to eat and why I like to do that and why I like to do this and all that stuff that comes up in there. It's almost kind of like, I don't know if this will make sense to anybody, but it's almost kind of like that was a deflection off of the real issue, which was that I'm just lazy and sometimes I just don't want to do the work. And that's just the reality, right? Like it's not always just about all these huge issues in my head. It's not always about like, oh, I'm like a food addict and I, you know, got all this stuff going on and it's always emotional issues. Yeah, sometimes it is about that stuff. Sometimes it is about that stuff. But when I'm sitting there watching Schitt's Creek with my husband and I'm like thinking about like, I need to go walk for an hour, in that moment, it's pure laziness. In that moment, when I've had a long day and I've had a stressful day and it's been an emotional day, you know, it's not always about the fact that, yes, I'm an emotional eater, but it's also about, like, sometimes that's just kind of how I unwind. I like to eat something, and sometimes eating, I can eat something healthy, and that can still be unwinding. I don't always have to eat something bad, right? But that's when I have to play it through. But sometimes it's just laziness, right? Sometimes it's not about all this stuff. Now, it's the more I understand about my food addiction and being an emotional eater and body dysmorphia and all this kind of stuff and seeing how it plays out and how it has played out into my life, it gives me a better understanding of of who I am and why I do what it does. But it's not going to be the impetus for moving my ass to start walking. It's not going to be the impetus for me making smoothies for breakfast every day and doing that kind of stuff. That has to come from a desire to want to have a different life. And at this point, I feel like I'm at a point where I've got to lose like 2, 3, 4 pounds and just like, and I mean, like, this is the thing. Somebody said this in my comment section last week and I was so grateful for this. They said, I know that for you it's frustrating because you're only losing like, you know, 0.2, 0.4 pounds a week. But if you add that up over an entire year, it adds to like 20 or 30 pounds. And that is such a good point. I've shared the story before, but I have a friend of mine that she and I got sober together and like I think it was, she was like sober like 6 months or a year and she wanted to start losing weight. She was never really that heavy, but she wanted to lose like, I think like 20 or 30 pounds. And she was like, but I want to keep it off. So I'm going to lose it slowly over a long period of time. And she started working out slowly, eating healthier. And she lost like a half a pound a week. Okay. Well, she finally got it off like the 20 or 30 pounds. She's never gained that weight back ever. And I mean, it's been what, 29, 30 years at this point. She's never, 29 years. She's never gained that weight back. Right. Because she lost it over a long period of time. So I loved when somebody said that in that sentiment. So I'm not going to anymore beat myself up or get distraught over the fact that I only lost 0.2 pounds in this last week. I maintained and I continued to lose. And that for me is progress. And if I continue to do it that way, eventually I will be below 200 pounds. But a lot of why I'm not losing weight now and I just feel stuck is because I'm lazy. That's a lot of it. You know, at the end of the day, I just want to kind of hang out with my husband. I want to lift weights and do all this kind of stuff. But the other thing I know is that once I get in the mode of doing that every day, then I love it. Then I enjoy it. So I'm kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place right now. So I don't know. Just send me some positivity, you know. Be like, hey, you could do this. You could do this. When you guys share your inspiring stories from me, I will say that that's really helpful to me. I mean, people that share stories and they're like, Peter, I did this for like 3 years and didn't lose a pound. And then I lost 100 pounds because like that, hearing those stories really helped me a lot. So anyway, that's where we're at today. 0.2 pounds I lost. I'm inching there. I'm getting there closer and closer each week. Anyway, and then once I get there, I'm going to have to maintain it and lose more. So, yeah. Anyway, I love you guys so much, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.